Nature as a teacher. We can be confused by bizarre proposals, such as the ones we have mentioned above, when we stop seeing the natural world for too long a time. We become trapped in the enticing game of diving into more and more sophisticated mental explanations, however odd the ideas, that drive us to believe we are getting really deep knowledge. We come to a moment when we lose ground and we are flying in the imagination without being able to distinguish what is real and what is fantasy. Instead of getting lost in so much thinking about bizarre ideas, we should close the book for a while. We should silence the talking to look around and see the way nature moves and grows and take advice from that. See the trees, the birds, the wind, and the miracle of creation. The Great Spirit would not have given us the impulse of love and procreation, as it did the rest of the living creatures, just for our condemnation. We do not need to be geniuses to understand that. We just need to think less and see more. In the case of procreation, giving part of our own being for the existence of our sons and daughters is natural. Did we not receive energy from our parents? Did we not receive from the earth and the sun the energy and matter that our body is made of? Why then should we be so selfish as to deny giving up a part of what we are for the recreation of life? Moreover, the whole that comes with having children is not supposed to be permanent. The natural process requires that we have that hole open in our luminous body for a while, until it gradually closes as part of the natural recovery process of our energetic body. It happens in the same way with the physical wound. Our physical body works to close it. Our energetic body tries to do the same with our wounds of love. The problem again is that because of our bad energetic habits, such as spending our entire life trying to protect the ego instead of trying to take care of our energy, we block the process of natural self-healing. This is why after having children, most people lose their shine. On the contrary, if we learn to be more careful in the way we use our energy, life force, so we may keep or even increase it, we may certainly pass through the challenging and nourishing experience of being parents without losing our power. The most incredible point regarding recapitulation is that despite the fact that we block our natural process of self-healing, there are moments in everyone's life when our body performs recapitulation spontaneously. The most dramatic of these cases is at the moment of death. The last recapitulation. It is not possible to say why, but the very last thing all humans do at the end of their life is recapitulate. People who have had near-death experiences report as one of the most common elements of the process the reliving of the most meaningful moments of their lives. It is a fact that people who accompany a relative at the last moment before death report that the dying person whispered words about situations from childhood, adolescence, or other periods of his or her life. After this process of seeing their lives pass before their eyes, many people share in words their feeling of exquisite peace. The recapitulation puts everything in balance. All the luminous filaments of the field of energy are arranged to become pure consciousness, which means that everybody may die in the very last moment in peace. Certainly the moralist that we all keep inside could find this idea disturbing. The chance for every human being to die in peace, regardless of the kind of life he or she led. But that is what happens, and nobody knows why. The universe is a strange place. It is full of phenomena whose explanations do not fit in our head. Maybe we should finally accept it. Not everything that exists was born and developed in such a way that our rational mind can explain it. That is what the Toltecs did. They used their rational minds to create knowledge, science, and tools for their well-being. But they also respected the experience of living with the left side of their consciousness, the Nawal awareness. which at the same time was incomprehensible to their right side, to now, the rational mind. They were not offended by the presence of mystery. They learned to love mystery as an integral part of their lives. The relevance of this is not only that we may see recapitulation as a natural process of the energetic body. By recapitulating our field of energy, we also become balanced and our awareness is open to a higher level. Why should we wait to die to accomplish this process? It makes a lot of sense to recapitulate, to live better, not just to die. Spontaneous recapitulation. The spontaneous arising of recapitulation is not restricted to the moment of dying. It may also happen to anyone experiencing special circumstances, such as a nervous breakdown, extreme periods of fasting, long periods without sleep, a deep physical massage, even a physical trauma. Working with so many people for so many years, I have had the opportunity to see people enter into deep states of spontaneous recapitulation on several occasions. Once, a very serious businessman fell down to the ground, crying like a newborn baby and adopting the physical position of a baby in the womb during the practice of a simple, physical, sport-like exercise. His wife was there, participating in the workshop as well. The man was a forceful kind of person, and he knew it. Everybody agreed that he was strong. His wife, on the contrary, was humble and shy. Everybody thought she was the soft, weak half of the couple. Working with our entire body in nature gives us extraordinary chances to see what we are that we are not normally able to see. Something special happened in that workshop. The important man had such a weak physical body that he was reduced to the state of a defenseless child. He was clumsy and fearful. His wife, on the other hand, was strong and happy. My view was that the ego of the man collapsed under the pressure of seeing the lie of his life. He was weak and the woman was strong, even though he always managed the situation to control her all the time. But this time was different. Under circumstances beyond his control, the truth arose and his ego collapsed. Once that happened, his energetic body took over, trying to enter into the healing process of recapitulation. Certainly that was not the moment to stop the workshop and set the conditions so he could continue recapitulating right there. Actually, he was very scared, thinking that something terrible was happening. He wanted to go back to normality as soon as possible. So I helped him by talking to him softly, gently moving his body, and teaching him a special way of breathing so he could recover control of himself. Later on, I explained my view of the situation and encouraged him to accomplish recapitulation as soon as he could. I don't know if he did that. I doubt it. On another occasion, I saw a woman entering into spontaneous recapitulation because of a small blow to her body as a consequence of falling to the ground during a physical activity. She did not hurt herself at all, but her emotional state made her cry intensely without knowing why she was so sad. Other times, people enter into those states simply by passing through a certain place, smelling a certain scent, or hearing specific music. The spontaneous entering of the recapitulation process can be superficial or very deep, depending on the circumstances. When it happens, our rational mind is confused and scared and doesn't know what to do. We try to escape and go back to normality by talking to others, watching TV, or pursuing whatever feels usual. And that is what we do. We escape without knowing that our energetic body was trying to do something good and even necessary for our well-being. Unfortunately, usually we miss the message and never complete the process. The psychoanalysis connection. To close this chapter, I want to add a comment about a question that very often arises in my recapitulation workshops when I am introducing the theme. Is recapitulation similar to what I do in sessions with my psychoanalyst or therapist? It is clear that psychoanalysis deals with the patient's past. In this sense, it could share similarities with recapitulation. At the same time, there are many differences. The process of psychoanalysis is based on the mind and on the expressions of the ego. It is related primarily to words. The result is that after years in therapy, most people remain the same, with the only difference being that now they are able to provide complex explanations of why they are the way they are. The main problem with psychoanalysis is that it does not take into account the dual nature of human beings. It is not possible to heal a double being just by attending to one side of his or her duality. In recapitulation, on the other hand, the process is based in the energetic body. It is related to feeling and reliving, more than to thinking or analyzing. The result is that people can make extraordinary changes in their life in a very short period of time. In the early years of my research on recapitulation, I considered it a left-side consciousness process only, not related to the rational mind. It was as if Western therapy was dealing with healing from the rational mind, while recapitulation was done from left-side awareness. That is what I thought at the time I wrote about recapitulation in my first book. As will be clear in the following chapters, that vision was wrong. It took some years for us to discover it, but we finally did. Recapitulation is a process that involves the totality of the dual being, Tonal and Nawal. Finally, I should add that I have many friends and associates from the fields of psychiatry, psychology, and psychoanalysis, and we have friendly discussions about the possibilities and limitations of each one's field of work. Some of them have even tried to equate the Nawal with the unconscious. They are my friends, but I should say that trying to equate the unconscious with the Nawal is simply pretending that the rational mind can explain what cannot be articulated with words. Anyway, arguing about concepts and ideas has never been a problem among us, because our continual focus on practice takes us to the place of actions and results, and that is clear to all of us. My comments about psychoanalysis are related more to orthodox psychoanalysis, and not to all the new currents appearing everywhere. The truth is that as the years go by, more and more psychoanalysts, psychiatrists, and psychologists are moving toward a more open and integral approach to the human being. Many of them are interested in shamanism, and certainly many of them are transforming and enriching their professional practice with elements of alternative ways of working, as is AVP and the new Toltequity. These professionals get their degree from the university, nicely located on the wall of their office, close the door, and then open the doors of mystery and explore these alternatives that were not included in their academic studies. This is how many of the new practices for healing have been arising, from the vision of Carl Gustav Jung to transpersonal psychology, from the inclusion of Buddhism in the curricula of Western universities to Gestalt therapy. Even what is associated with spirit and magic is nowadays a field of interest for open-minded Western researchers in the field of health. The walls between science and magic are falling down. Maybe the future is not that far away, when we will finally understand our nature as double beings. Maybe then, science and technology could receive the necessary balance from the silent knowledge. Maybe then, we may rise to a science and a technology like those of the Toltecs in their own time and place, ones that do not destroy life. At the bottom line, What counts are the results. And to that, I can only add what one of my friends, a very famous psychiatrist, once told me after participating in one of our workshops in recapitulation. I am amazed. I have been under psychoanalytic therapy for 17 years. It has been a good support for my practice as a psychiatrist. But I should admit that in 2 months practicing recapitulation, I have been able to change my life much more than in my 17 years of psychoanalysis. He was right. Chapter 3. What can we get from recapitulation? Now that we have a general vision of what this strange concept called recapitulation is, here is the moment to see why we should make a space in our everyday routines to enroll in such a peculiar process. What is the main goal of recapitulation? What can we expect? What are the results for those engaging in recapitulation? The main goal of recapitulation is to restore the field of energy from the damage that it has received in the past through interaction with other fields of energy. How does that restoration take place? Recovering energy. The kind of experiences that we need to recapitulate the most could be understood as times when our field of energy was damaged because of a negative, anti-energetic interaction with another field of energy. The typical energy-wasting interactions are the emotional interactions with other people. Those kinds of exchanges cause damage in our energetic field that most of the time remains with us for the rest of our lives. What we feel is that we are losing a part of ourselves, and that is, it is so painful that we have to forget in order to stop the pain. The paradox here is that while those events are the ones that have left greater damage in our energetic body, they are also the ones that we have erased from our normal memory. But while the right side of our awareness forgets, our energetic body does not. Recapitulation gives us a chance to enter into that secret memory. In terms of energy, it could be said that those energetic traumas leave a black hole in our luminous body. We do not see the hole, but the external expression, the energy-wasting routines of our life, may be noticed by the silent watcher, the stalker. These routines are an internal script that determines our external doings. Many different actions or situations in our life could be the expression of a single internal routine, such as having had many partners but lived the same history with all of them. Those exhausting repetitions are the black holes in our luminous body, and through them we lose our power, our life force. This image makes it easier to understand what could be seen as the main benefit from doing recapitulation, recovering the energy that we have lost along the way. Recapitulation is our best chance to fill the black holes in our energetic body. It is common during the recapitulation process that the recovering of energy is experienced as recovering a part of yourself that you thought was dead and lost forever. Perhaps it is that part of yourself that you did not even remember. Yes, we have to recapitulate to recover our childlike joy, our bravery, our curiosity for knowledge, our enthusiasm for life, to reclaim our magic and power. When did you lose your capacity to trust another human being? When did you lose your daring to dive into the mystery that is surrender to the call of love? These terrible losses are often related to specific moments and events of our life. Moments in which we did not find a better response to what was happening to us than to suspend forever a part of our own being. Recapitulation is the path by which to pick up those parts of ourselves that were left along the way. Detaching foreign energy. Detaching somebody else's energy that is attached to our energetic body is one of the results of a thorough recapitulation. In the same way that part of our energy was lost in those emotional interactions, part of other people's energy was left in our luminous body, and we could still be carrying those pieces. That foreign energy is forcing us to be something that we are not, and is an obstacle to our freedom. Have you ever found yourself acting like someone else, maybe your father? Have you discovered that some of your battles are not really yours, but are instead the battles of some important people in your life? The intensity of other people's presence in our life may become printed on our energetic body. That was the case with the famous and successful MD who fought for long years to become a doctor and achieve a good reputation and a big income, only to discover in the third quarter of his life that he never had liked being a physician. It was his father's dream, his father's battle. He nearly walked all the way to the finish line of his life, only to discover his work was not his dream. But there was no way to go back and recover those 30 years spent in another person's battle. That is really dramatic. We have only one life, just a single chance in eternity to live the way our spirit demands. Becoming free of energetic hooks. Another way of seeing the benefits of recapitulation is to notice that we are hooked to many situations, events, places, and people of our past. Because of those situations, we cannot freely go ahead and accomplish our dreams. Our body remembers if we were defeated in a meaningful battle of our childhood. And because it has a footprint of that defeat, we are going to keep living the same way in all the meaningful battles of our life, facing the same defeat. If you were disappointed because the first time you felt love and expressed it, you were violently rejected, that shame and pain are going to follow you wherever you go, and you will avoid confessing your feelings again. If somebody fails you when you were expecting loyalty, your faith in the whole human race could be lost. Of course, this does not happen with every tiny problem we have. I'm using these images so that you might have an idea of the kind of energetic hooks I'm talking about. These hooks are forged for us in those special situations. Each one of us has his or her own personal experiences during which these hooks were made. Certainly, most of the time we have forgotten these events, removed them from our normal memory. Now you are in the present. You want to do things, make changes in your life. You want to start new projects, try new relationships, but you find it is not that easy. Something stops you. All your invisible but strong connections to your past experiences are like a weight that does not let you move ahead. You are stuck in the past. For instance, you cannot see a new person with new eyes because you see in her or him the presence of that other person who made you suffer. Such hooks condemn us to repeat the same stories again and again. That is why we may say that recapitulation is a door to freedom. Once we release those hooks, we have the chance for personal change, choosing how we want to be and how we want to live. Releasing promises. One of the amazing things that we may face through recapitulating is the discovery that we have really been living two lives. The one that our normal memory reports and the one that our energetic memory reports. It is like having forgotten the major events of our life. Therefore, what we remember is more like the dream that the ego has been dreaming about itself. This is possible because of our dual nature. Both sides of our existence always have been present, even though normally we have noticed the tonal, our rational side. Here we are dealing with one of the ways to claim the other side. Some of the most extraordinary things that are hidden, most of the time lost, from our normal awareness are the promises. I call promises those energetic commands that were issued by our entire being under circumstances of tremendous pressure. In a very simple outline, I could say that the promises take place when we are engaged in a difficult emotional interaction. Under the pressure of what is going on in that event, we promise not to do something anymore, or we choose to act in a different way from that moment on. Let's see an example. Mary was a little girl, 5 years old, full of happiness and love. The world for her was an endless opportunity of exploration and discovery. Her mother, Jane, loved Mary deeply, but she was not expressive in demonstrating her love to her daughter. Only on very few occasions did she embrace and kiss Mary. She was not a bad mother. It just happened that she herself did not have affectionate parents. Therefore, she did not learn the physical expression of love between parents and their children. Jane expressed her love for her daughter in the care she put into all things related to Mary. Her clothes for school were always impeccable. Mary had a beautiful room full of light, pink blankets on her bed, all kinds of tender toys, and smiling little bears painted on the ceiling. It was clear that Jane had made her best effort to create a beautiful space, especially for Mary. Nevertheless, there was always that feeling in Mary of missing something. She could not explain what it was. But each time she saw her mother after school or when the time for going to sleep arrived, she felt that sensation of missing something. The end of the school day was not a pleasant time for Mary. These were the moments when the children who had been missing their parents met with the parents who had been missing their children. For most of them, these were moments of joy and times for expressions of love. For Mary, it was different. When her mother arrived at the school and they met, instead of being lifted up in the air for an embrace, a kiss, and maybe, why not, a spin in her mother's arms, what Mary got was, "How was your day in school?" "Fine, Mom." With a serious expression on her face, her mother took Mary by the hand and said, "You should be careful when crossing the streets. Pay attention to how I do it." "Yes, Mom." Then for the rest of the way home, she and her mother would walk together in silence. Mary wanted to talk, run, and play, but she was afraid of doing something wrong because of the vigilant look in her mother's eyes seemed to say, "I am watching you. Do not do anything wrong." Sometimes while sleeping, she dreamed that her mother was going to look for her at school, and when they met, her mother embraced her with affection and kisses, just exactly as she had seen the mothers of her companions do at school when they went to pick up their kids. Mary's days at home were nearly silent. She talked with her dolls or the frog in the garden fountain. Her interactions with her mother were brief and basic. "Wash your hands for dinner. Remember to finish all your vegetables. Who left this doll on the stairs?" Her father was different. When feeling alone, sometimes Mary used to close her eyes and remember her father. What a nice feeling when that tall, tender giant lifted her onto his shoulders with his strong, warm arms. The world seemed so different from those heights. What beautiful music he made when he took her into his lap, embraced her, and sang that funny song. What a shame that he spent so little time with her. Sam was an itinerant salesman. He worked for a tool factory, and his job was visiting stores, offering the tools of the company to possible buyers. He was number 2 in the group of salespeople in the company. Being a responsible father and husband, he worked overtime to increase his income so that Jane and Mary could enjoy comfort and security. His favorite time was when he had the unusual chance to play with his little princess. That didn't happen often, but the work, he thought, was his first duty to his family. There was a time when Sam took longer than usual, 3 days in fact, to return home from work. Jane thought that Sam might have been sent to another city with his truck full of tools, and Mary was missing her father so much. "When is Daddy going to come back, Mom?" Soon, don't worry." "How many days is soon, Mom?" "A few days, don't worry. Go play in the garden." In the garden, Mary did not feel like playing. Instead, she thought and thought about her daddy. She kept looking toward the driveway, hoping to see his big truck pulling in. Sam was completely drunk at the end of the bar in a dirty pub. This was not the Sam that everybody knew and respected. This was a sobbing ghost. In the middle of the fog of his stunned mind, he was seeing again and again the same story, trying to get a different ending each time he recounted it. His workday had begun as usual, but upon arriving at the company, he was told that the manager was waiting for him. When Sam entered the meeting room, he felt something strange in the air. The room was full of all the salespeople in the company. The man in the speaker's place was not old Ed, the manager and friend whom Sam had always known. Where was Ed? A young man with a stiff face said, "This company has been sold to McGraw Tools, Incorporated, a Holland corporation. I'm Mr. Dever-Raven, and this is the list of the salespeople who are going to continue working here. If you don't hear your name, go to the cashier to receive the payment of your pending commissions. Sorry, gentlemen, but the company needs to decrease its personnel in a process of reconstructing to fit with the current condition of the country's economy." "Good morning, gentlemen." The stiff-faced young man left. Sam was shocked. What was going to happen to him? He produced sales. He surely would be on the list. Then Mr. Sullivan, the number one salesman in the company, went on stage with the paper in his hands. "Oh no," thought Sam. "If Mr. Sullivan is with them, I'm lost." Robert Sullivan was the kind of person who always wanted to be number one, and he did not like competition. He had always tried to put obstacles in Sam's way, so that Sam could not approach him in numbers of sales. "Dear friends," Sullivan began, while looking at Sam with a malevolent smile on his face. "This is the list of the selected salespeople. I wish you luck." Sam knew exactly what was going to happen. He was right. He was not on the list. He left the room completely shocked and depressed. While he was walking down the stairs, his depression became anger. He headed to the new manager's office, but the secretary said that there were no meetings times available with Mr. Dever-Raven. That was too much. Sam reached Mr. Dever-Raven's office door and knocked furiously. "You can't do this to me," he shouted. "I've been working here for 14 years. I've helped this company earn a lot of money." The door would not open. The next thing that happened was an unequal fight between Sam and 4 agents of the security staff of the company. Sam ended up beaten in the street while the security agents were removing the tools from his truck. Anger, humiliation, and hatred of life. That was what Sam was feeling in that bar. His life was ruined, just like that. The next day found Sam sleeping on a park bench. It was 1 p.m. Tired, defeated, and angry, he decided to go home. Mary was sitting in the front yard, combing the hair of Lucy, her favorite red-haired doll. She was thinking about her daddy, unable to imagine the hell that he was passing through. She heard the familiar sound of her father's truck and felt a jolt of excitement and joy. "Daddy," she said, running to the truck. All the love that she felt for her father was overflowing. Oh, she needed to hug him so much. Sam opened the truck door. He was still very depressed, angry, and dizzy from the effects of the alcohol. He could barely see a form moving toward him. Mary reached her father and embraced his leg while he was struggling to find his way to the front door. "Daddy, Daddy, do you want to play with me? Look, I've given Lucy a new hairstyle. Look." "Shut up. Don't bother me now. Can't you see I have problems to deal with? Go away," Sam said, at the same time violently pushing away the little girl. Mary fell down in the wet grass. There was mud inside her mouth and all over her face. She cried while trying to wipe it off and watched her father go into the house. He didn't even turn back to look at her. She was broken inside. Why? What did I do to make Daddy stop loving me? I'm a bad girl. This feeling filled her little body. Then another feeling came from the depths of her being. I will never let you know that I love you. Nobody is going to know what I feel. Mary's promise was not just an idea in her mind. There were no words, not even thoughts. It was a silent feeling, with no other feeling or thought competing with it. It was an energetic command. Mary was sad, but sometime later she was playing with her dolls again, alone. Her father found another job, but he would never be the same. Mary grew up to be a beautiful woman and eventually became a school teacher. She is 34 and her life is normal. But even though she is attractive, healthy, and successful in her field of work, she has never had luck with men. 9 serious relationships have finished in the same way. These men left because they felt she was too cold. She doesn't like that, but she can't help it. She has fallen in love deeply 3 times, but not even then was she able to really give herself up to the man she loved. "Do you love me? Do you love me?" Each would ask her many times, but she could never answer, "Yes, I love you." It was not that she did not love each of these men. It was just that from the depths of her being, something prevented her from confessing her feelings. She hates herself for not being able to tell what she feels. If a man touches her with love, she cannot respond. Her entire body becomes stiff and closed. She is a virgin at 34, and she knows she has a problem. She has been going to weekly therapy sessions. The therapist has asked her many times if she remembers having been sexually abused, but she doesn't have any memory of anything like that. She simply cannot explain what is wrong with her. Mary's story is that of a promise. Under the pressure of an inexplicable pain, she promised never to express her feelings again. It was not a thought. It was a pure feeling in the absolute focus of the inner silence. That is what I call an energetic command. It cannot be discussed or changed. It can only be accomplished. Only a new energetic command can cancel an existing command. And that is what we do during the work of recapitulation. Make new energetic commands on purpose. The situation that pushed Mary to make such a promise was so painful that the only relief she could find was in forgetting. The event with her father was erased from her normal memory, so she cannot find what happened to her. She forgot the promise, but her energetic body has not. Day after day, the energetic command has kept operating without Mary's awareness. All of us have our own promises for similar or very different issues. The promises of our lives are determining what we are and what we can and cannot do. They are behind those repetitions we cannot stop. These promises are a very good reason to engage yourself in the task of recapitulating your life, to finish with a hidden energetic command that could be restraining your power and well-being. Saying goodbye. To conclude with the presentation of the benefits that can be achieved through recapitulation, we should talk about the chance to energetically say goodbye. Saying goodbye is related to one of the most common energetic problems people have in their luminous being. They are attached to a feeling of denial. They have lost somebody who was very important in their lives, but they never accepted that fact. They never said goodbye. People in such a situation live in a state of permanent anger and pain because they never accepted the reality they had to face. The workings of this are amazing. A young boy loses his father at the age of 10. He does not cry during his father's funeral, but within him, in the deep place of silence, there is a total feeling. No, this is not happening. You cannot go. I do not want it. It is not true. You cannot leave me. The anger and pain are beyond words. Outside, we see only a serious boy. He seems to feel nothing, and he thinks he feels nothing. The pain is somewhere else, not in his right side awareness. He believes he is okay, but the turmoil and the pain have been sent to a much deeper place. His life goes on, but he will never be the same. He is now a man, but his anger at and denial of his loss will always be there, hidden behind everything he does, stealing his chance of being happy every time something good happens to him. He may smile, even laugh, but never with complete laughter. He has an energetic knot deep inside. Maybe he doesn't notice it, but through the years, his face has been marked by the scars of his anger, rarely disguised by an occasional gesture that tries to be a smile. He doesn't know why sometimes he can feel a knot inside. He just does not make the connection. When he talks about his father, he says, "I don't know why everybody was crying. I was relaxed, playing around as usual. I felt nothing." People in similar situations know they have never been the same since the loss of a dearly loved person. They just have never known how to overcome it. Others are still losing energy because they never accepted the loss of a former partner. The lovers were so attached that when one of them left, he carried a part of the one who stayed. Not being complete, the one who stayed will hold that pain forever. Though the circumstances may be different, all the cases are the same. They are all people who are not able to say goodbye in the proper moment. Saying goodbye does not mean that you are not going to feel sadness or even pain for the loss of someone you love. It means that you feel the grief of the mourning for a period of time, and then you accept it and start to recover your well-being. Finally, one day, your mourning is finished. But in order to be healed, you need to accept it and say goodbye at a certain moment. Only then does the recovering start. The recapitulation process provides a very good chance to go back to that time, that person, that denial and pain, to finally accept it and say goodbye. That is the time to see into that person's eyes, to feel the warmth of his or her presence and say, "My dear father," or whoever he or she is, "I have loved you so much. I love you so much. You have loved me and given me so much joy with your love. I deeply thank you for that. Your time to leave arrived, and I did not respect that. Now I accept it and set you free to go wherever you should go. Your love will always be with me as a precious gift, and my love for you will be always part of my being. I give you back your freedom, and I recover mine. Goodbye." How many people need to pass through that healing process? Be attentive, because it may be you. Chapter 4. How the process of recapitulation works. Now we are getting to the final part of the background of recapitulation. This is the time to insert the final piece so that you can understand the entire process. From the moments when the energetic damage was done to the moment when you have healed your energetic body from those specific wounds. This simple general understanding is fundamental to enabling the recapitulation practitioner to perceive the thread that unites all the steps of recapitulation, have a sense of the target of the recapitulation thread, achieve the personal, general sense of purpose that is a fundamental element for a successful process of recapitulation. For an easy understanding of the damaging and healing process related to recapitulation, I have divided it into the following stages: average life sequence, energetic body process, and ordinary reality process. 1. Energetic completeness, ordinary reality process, newborn state. 2. Anti-energetic exchange, ordinary reality process, intense emotional interaction. 3. Energetic damage, ordinary reality process, emotional wounds, promises, energy losses, etc. 4. Behavioral change, ordinary reality process, repression, fear, emotional blocking, negativity, etc. 5. Damage reinforcement, ordinary reality process, repeating behavior in any new situation. 6. Increasing awareness, ordinary reality process, loss of life force, tiredness, boredom, sickness, etc. 7. Death from exhaustion, ordinary reality process, death in decrepit condition. This is the average person's life sequence. What normally happens if we do not do something about it. The new Toltec warrior's way, however, moves toward a different result, because by introducing recapitulation, we can change the last steps. We do not need to live feeling powerless and exhausted. This alternative sequence will be seen later in this chapter. As we may see in the previous list, a noticeable external manifestation is associated with each stage in the energetic body status in accordance with our nature as dual beings. This means that although the energetic body is not perceived by our everyday awareness, the external expression of its status is easily noticeable if we simply choose to watch consciously. It should be noted that these stages are presented here in a very general way, and variations do occur. Now, let's look at an overview of each step so we may relate it to our own experience. Energetic completeness. When a new human being is born, the energetic body is complete. There are no black spots, knots, or holes. All the filaments of the luminous field are in place, in perfect order and shining with the beauty of the first light. This is what I call energetic completeness. We all begin this way. The war of the ego against the energetic body has not begun. Tonal is just beginning to be. We are all Nawal. The world has no defined shape, and neither have we. There are no restraints. If we feel, we express what we feel. There are no contradictory feelings inside. This is why little children are magical beings. Unlike the power of adults, their power has not been damaged from living internal fights within themselves. Have you noticed this? Have you noticed how often we adults are trapped between two opposite feelings at the same time? We want to look for a new job, but we are afraid of losing the one we have. We fall in love, but we cannot accept it for fear of being abandoned. We love our parents, but we hate them because they have not loved us enough. We want to start something new, but we are afraid to take risks. being trapped under this torture with no way to go forward and no way to go back. Our power is drained, and we live without passion. Living without passion is living without power. And living without power means that we are giants living dwarves' lives. With no contrary thoughts or contamination from fears and fantasies, children are powerful beings. They have the ability to concentrate their whole energy in a single action. That is called intent. For this reason, they can see things adults don't, and they have answers for adults' problems that those who are grown are not even able to listen to. Children are wise, even if adults cannot see it. We are so obsessed with teaching them that we do not notice what masters they really are. All this has to do with the fact that our energetic condition at the moment of birth is completeness. By interacting with adults, we start to lose part of our brilliance. The more we grow, the more we lose shine and become like them. Bear in mind that I am talking about a general tendency. Certainly there is a big difference in the process, depending on the energetic quality of the atmosphere and the people we grow among. The following drawing is a representation of the energetic body at the moment of birth. Figure 1, classic representation of the energetic body as a luminous egg. In the beginning of life, our energetic body is like a piece of paper with nothing written on it. Unfortunately, that state of energetic well-being is destined to change. Anti-energetic exchange. Interacting with other fields of energy, example, the people in our childhood world, produces changes in the energetic body. These exchanges could be of several varieties. Energetic, those that are beneficial for keeping or increasing our level of energy. Anti-energetic, those that diminish our level of energy. Neutral, those that do not affect our level of energy. To really understand the significance of this vision in our life, it is important to remember that our level of energy affects everything we do and everything that happens to us. Under the light of this vision, the two most extraordinary changes we may carry out in our life are 1. Restoring the damages to our energetic body, recapitulation. 2. Changing the way we live to allow us to increase energetic actions while diminishing anti-energetic ones, living purposefully. Since the subject of this book has to do with restoring the field of energy, we are going to focus for the moment on anti-energetic interactions and exchanges, because they are the ones that have damaged the energetic body. The following graphic is the representation of an anti-energetic interaction between a child in a state of energetic completeness and her father, whose energetic body is damaged from the process of taking care of the ego's needs instead of taking care of his energy. Do you remember Mary's story about how she was rejected by her father when she needed him? Let us say that this is the moment when Mary ran, full of love, to embrace him, and her father violently pushed her away. Figure 2, anti-energetic interaction. Energetic damage. Now, let's see the result of this for the formerly healthy luminous being. Figure 3, Mary, right after the painful encounter with her father. What do these illustrations mean? Figure 2 is the moment of the energetic trauma. Figure 3 represents the result of the trauma for the formerly healthy luminous being. Both illustrations represent what we do not see. That is, what is going on with who we are as fields of energy. Because none of this can be seen, the mere idea of being fields of energy is strange for us. To the naked eye, what we are seeing in Figure 2 is a 5-year-old girl with an adult She is full of love and wants to express her feelings. He is full of anger and pushes her away. There are two stories superimposed on the same event. The story of what is going on between two human beings and the story of the interaction between two fields of energy. In Figure 3, we see the result of the anti-energetic exchange. The energetic body has a wound now. Energy is being drained through that wound. If there is no healing soon, the field of energy is going to get weaker as time goes by. In ordinary reality, what we would see in this stage is the little girl crying. Behavioral change. Now let us see what the internal process is for the person. Mary is emotionally shocked. Under the pressure of the pain and not being able to understand what is going on, she makes a silent energetic command, the promise. I will never let others know what I feel. She has learned that expressing what she feels brings hurt. From now on, she would be different. Before, she was able to express her feelings and establish contact with other human beings. After the painful event, she is not. She starts hiding what she feels from her parents and relatives. She cries only when she is alone. Later on, during her teen years, the idea of confessing attraction or love to other adolescents terrifies her. A doing has been established. She has learned to hide her feelings. She does it again and again. She is not deciding this. She is suffering this, and she cannot stop. She just does not know how. Each time she acts like this, she is losing energy through the tremendous stress that such a conflict produces in her. By repeating this internal routine, doing, she loses life power and is weakening more and more as time goes by. Current damage. Mary is 34 now. The following graphic shows the current condition of her field of energy. Figure 4. Energy field condition of a human being after years of energy-wasting routines. Despite the not nice appearance of this drawing, people in the ordinary reality do not see Mary as an ugly or sick person. On the contrary, she is still a beautiful, strong, healthy woman. Because of the strength of youth, the wounds on her energetic body have not reached her physical body, yet the damage is inside. She is unable to express her feelings. Because of this, her capacity to accept love from others is numb. To the men who abandoned her, she was an ice floe. One of them, Simon, really loved her, but he had to leave, convinced that Mary never loved him. The ironic fact is that she loved him dearly, but was unable to express it. Obviously, this is an oversimplification to provide a straightforward and clear understanding of how the damaging of the energetic body takes place, both from the perspective of the energy and the perspective of ordinary perception. Regarding the traumas that are printed on our energetic body, it is important to notice the following. Not all the anti-energetic events of our life are destined to become permanent damage. Many times, things do not go that far. To be congruent with our example, let us say that not all the children have a permanent wound as a consequence of any kind of rejection from their parents. Actually, under normal circumstances, our energetic body is able to recover from minor injuries by itself. That is what happens when a child feels rejected because his mother does not want to play with him at a particular moment. He cries for a while, but in the next moment, he is happily playing with his sister. At the level of the field of energy, this could be seen as a small scratch that heals naturally in a short period of time. Our current condition is the result of the mixed effects of all the good things and all the bad things we have experienced that strengthen or weaken our energetic body. Why at times do some people suffer deep damage in the energetic body by certain emotional interactions while others do not? What are the decisive factors for why in some circumstances we are able to overcome difficult situations while in others we are not? The answer is a combination of the following factors: the energetic intensity of the event, the way we react in relation to the event, whether or not we settle an internal routine, doing, as a consequence of the event. What I call the energetic intensity of the event is almost obvious. It is not the same to say to a child, "You cannot play now because it is time for your homework," as it is to beat the child when he or she asks for a hug. The way we react refers to the way we handled the situation in that moment. It is important to notice that our reaction is not the only one possible for that specific event. Did we react with hatred or with feelings of humiliation? Or maybe we found a way to explain or justify what was happening. Because of the way we felt, did we overcome and let the bad experience pass right by? Or did we make an energetic command that perhaps has ruined our life? All three factors are connected. The same way our reaction relates to the intensity of the event and the internal resources we had at that moment. The settling of new routines has to do with whether or not we reacted by making an energetic command. For instance, "I will never be a winner," or "I will never let others know what I feel." If we settle a new doing or internal routine that keeps the energetic wound bleeding forever, so to speak, it is a fact that the wound or hole in our energetic body is going to keep weakening us and endlessly taking away our power. In summary, the way these three factors mentioned above come together determines which emotional interactions are going to result in permanent damage and which are not. Basically, without knowing, we have been living in the middle of a battle between our self-healing capacities and our energy-wasting habits. In most people's lives, the energy-wasting habits have the advantage. It is very interesting to notice that the last two of those three factors are determined by each of us, and even the first one has quite a bit to do with us. This takes us to a major issue related to self-healing and reclaiming our power: responsibility.